What's up, guys? This is SanchoWest, and welcome to the CheckPoint Amigos show. This is the podcast for your nerdy lives where we keep you up to date with all the nerdy news around the world. We got video games, movies, sports, and wrestling all rolled up into one awesome podcast coming to you on SoundCloud and on YouTube. If you are listening to it early, this is an early exclusive early access to patreon.com/SanchoWest. For $1 a month, it'll get you this podcast a couple of days early, and you get it for free on Wednesday all over the world. So I really appreciate you guys supporting the podcast, as well as supporting me, and as well as supporting this crazy idea of what I have here. And we got a jam-packed show today. We're gonna go ahead and take look at the Disney and Pixar bracket. I have a special guest, Lauren, that's going to help me out with that, which I'm going to cut to that segment. We got a Ready One Player review that I saw on Saturday. And as well, we just got a lot of crazy news out there in the world, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up with what's to come in the future. And if you're listening on the podcast on SoundCloud or on iTunes, I am using a face cam on YouTube. And I just want to really point out to you guys that we're gonna continue to evolve the show, continue to make it better. More importantly, a lot of you guys, I appreciate your feedback. We're saying that I need to include some videos and all those kinds of things. I just gotta let you guys know that YouTube is very, very strict about those things. All my previous CheckPoint Amigos podcasts kind of just all of a sudden got axed and copyright claimed and all that kind of stuff, and I kind of want to avoid all that. So you're gonna just see a talking head for now. Put something on, go play some video games, and I'll be here to entertain you guys. So this show is a special show. Like I said, we're going to have a segment. So what I want to go ahead and do is cut to my segment to the past me. And once that segment is over, I'll come back and we'll continue on with the CheckPoint Amigos podcast. All right, take it away, past me. I appreciate that, future me. This is past me. Again, this is SanchoWest, and I have a special guest breaking down this crazy thing that I saw on Twitter about the Disney movie breakdown. And here is my guest, the lovely Lauren. How are you today, Lauren?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. And guys, we're doing this over Discord. So if you hear the robotic voice, please excuse. This is the way technology is these days. So Lauren, tell my audience, because this is the first time they're meeting you and the first time I actually introducing somebody else besides my co-host, Dr. Bacon. What do you do out there in the world?
Well, I'm a comedian. I do stand-up. I do sketch comedy. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. What else do I do? I'm also theater manager of the Ruby LA in Hollywood, a theater in LA. So I keep busy.
Keep busy, and the most important thing I want to know is, would you consider yourself a Disney buff?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all are. We grew up with this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, there's, we all know the classics, and we all have those movies that we grew up with, and maybe they have a little bit of an advantage over some of the newer movies.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I'm a big Disney fan, of course.
Well, that's the thing that's very fascinating about this bracket that got Twitter all crazy, is that it has Disney classics versus the Pixar newbies, the computer generated and all that stuff, and it's it's causing an uproar, and I'm interested what you have. I wanted to bring you in because simply, as much as I love to talk about this by myself, I want to be, let's mix it up a bit. Let's see who's crazy, who has the right pick, and overall, let's see what you and I can come up with versus this Disney and Pixar bracket. Are you ready to go through the selections that we have?
I am ready to try.
All right. I know this is crazy. So guys, if you're listening, people are on the podcast listening with audio. On the left, we have Disney. On the right, we have Pixar, and it all boils down to the Final Four, like in March Madness NCAA. So what we're doing for the sake of brevity is that we're going to go ahead and just talk about the Elite Eight or the last eight, and then we'll go all the way to the one-on-one final. All right. Here I go. I'm going to go through the Disney side, and then I'll go through your Disney side, okay?
Okay.
All right. Lion King versus Tarzan, I picked the Lion King. Duh. Princess Frog versus Lilo and Stitch, I have to say, I've never seen all of them all the way through, so I went with Lilo and Stitch. Tangle versus Big Hero 6. I don't care about those two. I went ahead and picked Big Hero 6 just from when I feel bad about it because I've never seen those two. These are the things those are new school Disney. Anyway, Frozen versus Moana, I picked Frozen. That's a tough one. That was a tough one to pick. Aladdin versus Hercules, I picked Aladdin. Little Mermaid versus Pocahontas, I picked Little Mermaid. Mulan versus Zootopia, Mulan. And the final bracket, which is probably the most controversial, Beauty and the Beast versus Nightmare Before Christmas. I pick Nightmare. What are your picks on that side?
You pick Nightmare?
I did. I picked Nightmare versus Beauty and the Beast. Listen, Beauty and the Beast, after she goes back to the castle in the second half, it's not the same after the song. I don't like the third act of Beauty and the Beast.
All right, I get it. Okay, so mine. So Lion King versus Tarzan. Lion King.
Right.
Let's see. Princess and the Frog versus Lilo and Stitch. I chose Princess and the Frog.
Okay. It has a light New Orleans flair. Okay.
It does. I like good messages of if you work hard, you can achieve your dreams.
Right.
Let's see. Tangled versus Big Hero 6. I actually did not see Big Hero 6. But I'm a huge fan of Tangled, so that would have won anyway.
Okay.
So Tangled. Frozen versus Moana. Very much Moana.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it just because you don't like the Frozen Let It Go? Is that it?
No, I mean, it's fine. Like I've listened to it on loop for weeks as well. Okay.
All right.
I like it. I like it as much as the next person, but Moana was just so good.
Okay.
So good.
Personally, I just gotta say I love The Rock and everything, but I don't know. I think that was more of his popularity. I feel like they could have found someone a little bit better for the singing.
Yeah,
for the singing.
Yeah, they like. Yeah, I agree with that. But I mean, they wanted his celebrity and his charisma, and his charisma came across in the character.
I
so,
agree.
like,
I agree.
cool.
I love The Rock. I'm a big wrestling. You and I are both wrestling fans. I love The Rock. The thing that I wish, the only thing I wish about Mohana before we move on to your next picks, I just wish they did more with the pig. All right, they did a lot with the rooster.
Pua, yeah.
The pig needed his place to shine. All right, next one.
Next one, Aladdin versus Hercules. I chose Aladdin.
Okay. That's a tough one.
Classic.
That's a tough one.
It is. But I love. I mean, the genie. How do you can't replace the genie? You can't compete with him. So next one is Little Mermaid versus Pocahontas. I chose the Little Mermaid.
It's great. It's just an overall fantastic song selection. And then the Ursula is so scary. It scared me out when I was a kid.
I love it. Next, we have Mulan versus Zootopia. I chose Zootopia.
Ooh, okay. I kind of felt like I didn't want people to hate me for not picking Mulan. That's where I went with that.
That's fair. I get that. And like Mulan is obviously like one of the older like classically animated ones, but Zootopia is it's a good accessible movie for kids that talks about race.
Okay.
And it talks about just discrimination. Because it's like the herbivores versus the carnivores, and like if you're a predator, it's like you're looked down on by society because like you have like tendencies that you can't control. It's like it's very parallel to race conversations.
I did though see the twist coming a mile away. All right.
Yeah.
Next one.
Yeah, I didn't say it was not.
Yeah, it's a good formulaic movie.
Yeah. And I already expressed surprise that you picked Nightmare over Beauty and the Beast because I chose Beauty and the Beast. Because Bella's my princess, so of course I'm going to choose her.
That's true. I didn't think about that. Like the princesses do play a big role in this side. So just to wrap up, the only differences we have is Beauty and the Beast advance, Zootopia advance, and then Moana advance over Frozen, and then Big Six and Tangled. So those are the only, and Princess and the Frog as well. So all that's gonna be different. So let's go ahead and jump to the Pixar side. Now my one criticism, I got two criticisms for this, Lauren, is that I don't feel like they don't rank these properly because I feel like a lot of big hitters fight each other in the early round. And I feel like that hurts a lot of the weight of the bracket. Does that make sense? It's like, how can you have Hercules and Aladdin together? Like that's a tough fight, especially Nightmare and Beauty and the Beast. But more importantly, I would like to ask you this. I didn't prep you this, but what are the biggest omissions from this bracket? Me personally is the Goofy movie. It's one of my favorite Disney movies, and as well as Emperor's New Groove. That's one of the two movies that I really enjoyed that are not on this list.
That's so good. All right. You just said, the Disney side has the princesses. I'm looking here. It's like I only see this. It's Princess and the Frog, obviously. Tangled, I guess it's
Rumpelstiltskin. Yeah.
No, clearly you didn't see it. That's fine. We got Jasmine.
Not Rumpelstiltskin. That's the evil monster. I'm sorry.
I feel like there are a lot of the classic princesses. Like, where's Cinderella? Where's Sleeping Beauty? Where's Snow
Good
White?
point. The old school.
You know, where are the heavy hitters for the princesses, the original princesses? Because like we got Belle, great, she's a princess by marriage.
It's true. It's true.
You've got in Frozen, there's Elsa and Anna, they're both royalty, so sure.
Right.
And Tiana in Princess of the Frog, also a princess by marriage. It's like, I don't know. I just think the original princesses.
The royalty. OG.
Yeah,
I get it.
Like,
I get it.
Born into it.
Okay.
Where are they?
All right. So let's jump to the Pixar side of things. Now, this one's I kind of had an easier time with because Pixar's catalog gets heavier like near the tail end. But overall, okay, I'll just go because I could talk all day about Pixar movies. So Up versus Brave, I picked Up hands down. Toy Story versus Toy Story 2, I picked the original Toy Story. Coco versus Cars, I picked Coco. Toy Story 3 versus The Good Dinosaur, never saw The Good Dinosaur, so I gave the nod to Toy Story 3.
You did not miss anything.
Ratatouille and Bug's Life, Ratatouille all the way. Finding Nemo, Inside Out, I got to go with Bing Bong on this one, Inside Out. Monsters, Inc. versus Cars, I think the other one was like Cars 2, but it doesn't matter. Cars loses to Monster, Inc. And The Incredibles and WALL-E, I went with The Incredibles because that soundtrack is amazing, and I just love the action in The Incredibles. So what is your Pixar side?
All right, so mine is... All right, so of Up and Brave, it's going to be Up, duh. Toy Story versus Toy Story 2 obviously has to be the original. And then Coco, it's Coco versus Cars. So obviously Coco wins. Next we have Toy Story 3 versus The Good Dinosaur. I chose Toy Story 3 because The Good Dinosaur was very strange. Next we have Ratatouille versus A Bug's Life. I choose A Bug's Life.
What? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep. I stand by it.
Okay. We'll discuss it.
Next we have Nemo versus Inside Out, and I chose Finding Nemo.
Okay. All right.
Then we have Monsters, Inc. versus Cars. Wait, which one is Cars 2?
I think the top one's Cars 2.
It doesn't matter. It never would have won.
Yeah.
Monsters, Inc. in that round.
Okay.
And then Incredibles versus WALL-E. This was tough because I really like the message of WALL-E.
WALL-E.
Yeah, and the voice and the character. And the 45 minutes of silence. Like, there's no dialogue for like 45 minutes, and it's still a very enjoyable movie.
Okay.
I'm going to go with The Incredibles because I just love The Incredibles.
All right. So we got some big differences here that we'll get into later because those are some... Okay, that Ratatouille, that you shocked me there. That's gonna be a big one. So now, guys out there, guys and gals, we're gonna jump into some nitty gritty here about the brackets. So this is where everything gets separated. So I have Lion versus Lilo Stitch on the Disney side of things, and I'm gonna go ahead. Lion King wins that one. Who's the winner in your bracket on that matchup between Lion King and Princess the Frog?
Lion King versus Princess of the Frog. It's gonna be Lion King.
All right. Yeah, okay. Lion King is just it's such a good movie, and the fact that it goes on to make a Broadway musical, and that Broadway musical itself is phenomenal. You gotta give nod to Lion King. I'd be very interested to see what the live action does to it, but I think the Lion King definitely continues on being a big heavy hitter. What do you like about the Lion King?
Well, one, it came out around the time where I was young and impressionable, and it is like quintessential Disney movie.
Right, and has Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Was just gonna say that.
JTT.
Young Simba, voiced by JTT himself. It's the whole voice cast is incredible. It's got Nathan Lane, it's got Matthew Broderick, it's got oh my goodness, what's his name? Darth Vader. James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones.
Yep. It's got a really Whoopi Goldberg. It's got a really good voice cast. And like the songs are just, we all grew up listening to them.
That's true. What's your favorite Lion King song?
I just can't wait to be king.
That's a good one because Rowan Atkinson is the toucan as well.
Yep.
Okay. So in the next one we have Big Six for me versus Frozen, and I went with Frozen. So you have Tangled versus Moana.
Yep.
So
Wait, you oh wait,
why you want
like
me
you
to pick?
didn't
Why I explained that? Why that I picked Frozen over Moana?
yeah.
I picked Frozen because I enjoyed their message that they went away from that, a prince saves a princess, and that there's a different kind of love in this world that exists, and that is the love between siblings, and that love is strong enough to break any kind of spell, which is usually the Disney thing, was that it needs true love to break the curse, and sisterly love was that love that broke the curse. So that
I
was
guess
really
you're right.
good.
It was a more modern.
Right. It was a more modern. The song's a little bit more jokier, a lot catchier. Olaf is just a fun little like side comedic character. Is really strong. I think the visual is really nice, and I just think as well is that it shows that what Disney can do without relying on its classics. That's what's really good. Now the thing that I tacked Moana, or see, I always butcher the name Mohana, is that. I don't know. I just felt like it was more of a display on showing hair physics and water. It was more like a technical thing, and I feel like I just didn't like the flow of that movie. Walking out of it, it didn't. Their song like what is it? What's the song? Or the I turn up and up on the water.
You nailed it.
Yeah, it's a good song.
How far I'll go? Yeah,
it's a good song, but it's Let It Go is pretty strong.
It's a good song. Yeah. Okay, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that assessment. And I can understand like it being a different kind of love. I totally get that message, but I think for me, like Moana was, I mean, it was about this young girl who felt like she was kind of being cornered into having to, carry on the family business and, be a queen before she was ready, or be a chief before she's ready.
Right.
And she just wanted to explore, and she decided to go out and have an adventure to save her people, which is very noble. And then while she was out having her adventure, she I think her grandmother's spirit comes and basically says, if you want to go back home, that's okay. Like if you are ready to return home, you can do that. And like she accepts herself, and she accepts that she wants to be at home with her family and her people, and she wants to explore the sea. And it's like, it's self-acceptance, and it's about following your dreams, and your dream may be changing, and accepting that too, which I think is very important.
Maybe I'm just really bummed that they didn't use the pig more.
Well, Pua is very cute.
I know.
For sure.
I was hoping for more.
No, he was advertised as a sidekick, and he was barely even seen.
It wasn't even a sidekick. It was just it was literally a way to sell plush merchandise.
I have a big Pua on my bed right now.
See?
So it was very effective. Good job, Disney.
All right, so you have, obviously, based on that assessment, you have Mohana going on?
I do. Okay, and I love Tangled, and I mean, there are good messages in Tangled too, but
Mother Knows Best. What a great song.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that poor abusive stepmother.
Yes.
Or like very, very abusive relationship.
I just enjoy how Disney just hates stepmothers. It's just absolutely, it's like the worst thing in this world. I feel bad for stepmothers out there. All right, the next one is, for me, Aladdin versus who did
Little Mermaid, right?
Yes, Aladdin versus The Little Mermaid. Thank you for.
Yeah.
I have to go with Aladdin. I love Little Mermaid and all. I love the songs "Part of Your World." I love "Under the Sea." I love "Kiss the Girl." Fantastic song. I just think where it loses against Aladdin. I think Aladdin, this biggest X factor in this entire bracket is Robin Williams. He's by far the strongest presence in all of this movie, and without Robin Williams, I don't think Aladdin is as special as it is. And I just think that what's really cool about Aladdin is that it takes us to a different place. Agrabah, or was it Agrabah? Yeah, it takes
Agrabah, yeah.
Agrabah, and it takes us to a different place. And I think it rather than like sticking with a traditional type of animation, thanks to the genie, it goes all over the place. Like it breaks pop culture, brings some pop culture references, breaks time continuum, and it's just so fun. And as much as I like The Little Mermaid, I just think Aladdin takes the cake for me in that matchup.
Well, I had the same matchup, and I have the same movie continuing. So, Aladdin it is.
Aladdin, it is. And have you ever played the video game? One of the hardest
No, I haven't.
platformer games of all time.
Is it?
Yeah, it's pretty tough. It's pretty gnarly. Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. Just definitely check it out if someone has a copy. Pretty gnarly. Pretty gnarly. Speaking of gnarly, we have the next bracket, and I have Mulan versus Nightmare Before Christmas, and I picked Nightmare Before Christmas. It moves on for me. Nightmare Before Christmas. The reason why I picked it over Beauty and the Beast, let me go into a little bit more detail about that, Lauren. First off,
Please do.
it's such a cool animation, and it's Tim Burton. Like, it's such a unique clay animation, and I love the songs. What's this? I love the Oogie Boogie, the Halloween. This is Halloween. So it's such a cool movie that if Nightmare was on, I would pick it over Beauty and the Beast. Does that make sense? If they were on at the same time. Okay, don't get me wrong. Beauty and the Beast is awesome. Gaston is a fantastic song. The thing is that kind of bums me out is that I don't know. I maybe I'm like a little bit because of the movie, the live action movie. It didn't really do it for me. What about yourself?
What do I think of the live action Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah.
It was okay.
It
did a lot of retconning. It fixed a few of the holes in the animated movie.
But did it hurt your love for the animated version?
No.
But why do you hate Nightmare so much?
I don't hate Nightmare. I don't know. I just, we actually watched it. My roommates watched it around Halloween.
Right.
And I was watching it. I'm like, this is good, but like for some reason, I don't have like any nostalgia tied to it.
Right.
It's like I didn't watch that as a kid, so like I respect that it's a cult classic and it is well loved, and the music is good, and the animation is it's unique and very Tim Burton, but I don't know. I just don't have like an emotional attachment to it.
I think what also that I really enjoy it is Danny Elfman actually sings the song "What's This?" And he has such a cool voice, and he's such a really good Jack Skellington's singing voice. It's really, and I saw him live, so it was like I gotta give you the nod.
Nice.
I gotta give you the nod, Danny.
Did you see him when they came to the bowl?
Yeah, no, when he went to LA Live.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. All right. So, but in your bracket, you have Zootopia versus Beauty and the Beast. Who wins in that matchup?
Oh. I mean, I'm gonna go with Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
For exactly the nostalgic reason.
Okay.
And she's still my princess.
Okay.
So.
Well, we'll see how long that kiss carried.
I know.
Okay. Now this is the Pixar side of things. This is where it gets dicey for me. Up versus Toy Story. I went with Toy Story.
Okay.
The reason why is Up's first 15 minutes, phenomenal. By far the best in cinematic history. One of the best. The once they get to the island, it falls into a very Disney movie, and it doesn't hit the same. It starts off with such a bang that it does the rest of the movie is such a huge disservice to itself. And Toy Story, that's the OG Pixar movie, and I love Toy Story to death. I had its toys. I had a Buzz Lightyear. I had a Mr. Potato Head. I didn't have Woody. And when I went to the Disney store recently, I saw that they have the toys with the original boxes that were in the movie. I was like, wow, $30 is a lot, but I might buy these one day. But I have to go with Toy Story in that matchup. What do you got?
I have my bracket was between Up and Toy Story. And I chose Toy Story because, as you said, the OG Pixar. That was Pixar before Disney owned them. Yep. Original.
And what I love about Toy Story is that scene where Buzz Lightyear is trying to fly, and it has Randy Newman's singing, and he's like, I could fly if I wanted to, like a bird in the sky, and he just doesn't make it. And what I like about it is it teaches you how your dreams could get crushed, but you could still survive, and you could still fight on to be who you want to be.
It's just great. It's just great across the board.
It is. It still holds up despite the animation being a little bit plasticky, no pun intended. It still holds up very well, very well. All right, that was a no-brainer. and a lot of people are going to hold Up to high regard because of that first 15 minutes. But as a movie overall, Toy Story is just across the board better.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. And like, I mean, Up it really does hit you so hard, so quick.
It does. It surprised the hell out of me.
I mean, that doesn't. I mean, that impact doesn't last for the whole movie.
No, it doesn't, and it does. I just think that I don't know. I didn't like the villain, and I didn't like. It just it didn't flow. It ended with a very Disney movie, which is not sometimes it's not good. So the next one I have Coco. We both have Coco versus Toy Story 3. I hands down I picked Coco. Have you seen Coco? I'm assuming.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, I picked Coco because it's one of those movies that as a Mexican American and seeing your culture out there, it kind of like when I saw all the mariachis and all the just Mexico itself on the screen and the family dynamic and the grandma, especially the grandma, I immediately got emotional because I had that connection to the movie, and it kind of goes throughout the movie, but the Remember Me thread is just as strong as that opening thing, and
it's throughout the entire movie.
It is through, and the third act when it comes back, and how it hits and it just continues to hit, and it's one of those moments where most Disney movies has one like moment, but that one just kept breaking your heart as it progressed.
It was so crazy. In full disclosure, like I knew we were doing this tonight, obviously.
Right.
And I know there were a couple that I hadn't seen, and Coco was the biggest travesty.
Right.
Because until today,
okay,
I hadn't seen Coco. I watched it on my lunch break today.
Okay. What? Oh my.
I was bawling like a little baby in my office.
Okay. What? Tell me about since it's so fresh in your mind. What do you like about it?
Oh my God. I like how emotionally invested I was so quickly. And you said you're a Mexican American.
Right.
I am not. But I still love that I was so affected by it. And even just seeing somebody else's culture and honestly seeing like something that's so relatable to this little boy who just wants to follow his dream. Right. And he just wants the support of his family. I mean, that's something that resonates. I mean, everybody in every culture can identify with that in some way.
Right. Especially people going after an artistic dream.
Yes, especially that. Like the logical thing would be for him to just put on that apron and start making shoes, but all he wants to do is play music.
Right.
So it was a beautiful message, and you know what? Like, full disclosure, I just recently started reconciling with a close family member,
right?
Who I did have a bit of a falling out with. So like that's very fresh for me. So to see the dynamic of him, pushing his family away and then realizing that he just wants to go home, it's very emotional.
Right.
And I'm very lucky that I haven't lost anybody. Knock on wood. I haven't actually experienced a lot of loss, but I'm sure if I had recently, this movie would be extra devastating.
It was. Not to bring the podcast down, but recently I did lose my grandmother, and she was the Mama Coco reminded me so much of her, and especially the way she, just the way she was, like the way she was treated, revered, so much so. And then now that I have my daughter, the little one, running around, it's like I kind of like, no matter what, I would love the grandma to meet her granddaughter, her great granddaughter, so to speak. But it's no matter what, as long as I keep that memory alive, which is such a fantastic message, like keeping your family alive through your future generations. It's so good. And and the song "Remember Me" is by far one of the strongest songs that's ever Disney made, because it's such a beautiful song. It's such a beautiful song.
It really is. And like today when the movie ended, and like I had watched the Oscars when it was happening last month, and when the movie ended today, I was like, I have to Google what animated feature won Best Picture at the Oscars this year, and I checked and it said Coco. I'm like, yeah, good. Good,
Absolutely,
because
it was good.
I know Remember Me won best original song, so great, as it should. But it's such a powerful movie. And honestly, I mean, I don't know if we care about spoilers.
I'll give you a hint. Spoilers. You got 3 seconds to close your ears. 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
Did not see the twist coming.
Mm.
Totally thought Hector was just another skeleton. I did not think that he was actually going to be his great grandfather.
Yeah, Gael is a great actor too. And the little boy is such a good singer too. Such a good little kid. When you see him running around doing promotions, he's such a fun little kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just a really great movie. Great message.
I'm glad you saw it because I was hoping, crossing fingers, you did. All right.
Look,
so
I was looking at these brackets and I'm like, I know that Coco is going to make it to the final and I'm not going to be able to have intelligent conversations. I need to watch it. And I did.
You did. And so there's no need to talk about Toy Story 3.
No. I mean, I love Toy Story 3 and I think it did a wonderful job wrapping up the franchise. And it hit you emotionally as well. As far as like, being used and being like tossed aside and having to deal with maybe being forgotten.
Right.
And just accepting that, as they're heading towards the furnace. It was terrible. But no, Coco wins.
Coco wins. Up next, I have Ratatouille versus Inside Out. Now, the Bing Bong moment, and it's like Disney right here with Pixar. We have these themes of family, of dreams, and Inside Out's more about growing up and going from a child to an adult. And Inside Out, when Bing Bong, that moment when Bing Bong just disappeared, very, very emotional. But unfortunately, it does not beat out Ratatouille. I feel like Ratatouille is such this whole notion of chasing your dreams. And what I like about it is like, you could be a rat, right? And your dreams to cook French food. And you could be a cook at a 5-star restaurant or a Michelin rated restaurant, and you're a rat. That's awesome. And I love Patton Oswalt's voice. It's so good and so soulful with this little rat. And I just love my favorite moment in Ratatouille is when he eats the shepherd's pie, the critic, and immediately is transported back to when he was a kid.
He has that moment, right, where he's just thrown back.
That moment, because that's what I love about food, and this movie's about food, and I love that food can do that to you, like the taste of your my grandma's mac and cheese, or like the taste of my mom's cooking, all that kind of stuff. It immediately could bring you back to home, and I think Ratatouille, whereas Up struggles to keep the flow of that impact, that build up from Ratatouille to that moment was really awesome. And I love the dynamic of the mouth of the rat and with all the other characters, and how there's this city of rats living underneath, and it's the same thing. The dad was like, you're just a rat. They're always gonna see you as a rat, so that's why I like Ratatouille over Inside Out. And you had A Bug's Life. So what's so special about A Bug's Life?
What's so special about A Bug's Life? I think I keep playing the nostalgia card.
It's fair.
But it is potent. It's a very potent card, nostalgia. Bug's Life was a movie that I remember watching a lot as a kid. And also it's a retelling of a classic tale, of the ant and the grasshopper.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, that story is basically exactly that. Like the grasshopper, the worker ant is like spending his whole spring and summer stockpiling food for winter, and then the grasshopper is just, he like spends his whole time like with the nice weather just screwing off. And then it comes time for the winter, and he's like, "Hey, can I have your food?" And the ant's like, "No, get out of here." So I just like that it's like a retelling of a classic story.
So why does Ratatouille not pass Bug's Life?
I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and just say nostalgia.
Okay.
I love ensemble casts, and I love strong characters, and A Bug's Life absolutely had that. With the circus bugs. So yeah, I just really like A Bug's Life.
So does Bug's Life beat out Finding Nemo for you in this bracket?
No.
Okay, Finding Nemo. All right. What's so special about Finding Nemo?
Finding Nemo. I really like strong father figures and like fatherly relationships in my TV shows and books and movies.
Albert Brooks is a good father. Yeah, I like it.
So here we have Marlon. You know, he's just a single dad
He's a
doing his
clownfish.
absolute best. And he just loves his son so much, and he thinks he's doing what's best for him by overprotecting and coddling him, but he's not. He's actually doing more harm. So then he has to come to terms with that while having to cross the ocean to find his son. And he meets a wonderful cast of characters, and he overcomes every obstacle because he loves him. Yeah, it's just really good. It's really special.
Nothing beats a movie like I love movies that go from point A to point B, like traveling movies, because that's why I really like about Goofy movie, because it's traveling. They travel from point A to point B. I gotta bring up the Goofy movie. Goofy movie needs more love. Okay, it's fantastic.
Okay.
All right, next bracket we have Monsters Inc. versus The Incredibles. I went with Monsters Inc. I really love the dynamic of the monsters all together, with especially Goodman and Billy Crystal and John Goodman. They're fantastic together. Billy Crystal is like at his best when he plays like these little like failing comedians, and I just love the constant jokes and the twist of it all, the twist of the monster in the closet, and how it went from it's all about scares and screams, and even though like scaring got him enough energy, but a children's laughter and happiness brings them a lot more, which was a really cool twist about it. And guys, this is like almost like a 10-year-old movie, so you should just go see it regardless.
And I'm sure they've all seen it.
Yeah, and also I really like what's his face? I really like Steve Buscemi as the villain in this. I think he's Randall. He's really good as Randall. And yeah, I like Sullivan and Mike Kowalski, and all these characters are so fun because I think because the world of a monster, and they really just have fun with all the monsters. So I as much as I like The Incredibles, I think Monsters Inc., especially with the relationship to Boo and Sully, I think it's such a good movie. It's such a good movie, and the world they created was really fun.
What did you think of Monsters 2?
You know what? I haven't the one where they go to university or something like that. I haven't really sat down and watched it, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those ones like that escapes me. If it's not on Netflix or on Amazon or Hulu, I'm not gonna like buy it out. Granted, with the little one, I'm sure I will see it.
Yeah,
I'm sure I
eventually.
will.
Yeah,
eventually. So what do you have in that matchup?
So I have same bracket as you, Monsters Inc. versus The Incredibles.
Okay.
And I chose The Incredibles.
All right. Do you like what's her name? Violet, right? The
Violet, yeah. Violet's great. And Elastigirl and Dash and Mr. Incredible. They're all great. And Frozone. Frozone's awesome.
Samuel L.
Jackson voicing. Right. Yep. I picked The Incredibles. I mean, I'm a fan of superhero movies, and this was a superhero family movie.
Right. Big dynamic.
Yeah, and I really like how they set it up where, like, in the beginning, superheroes are great, and then there's an incident, and they are just trying to help, but they end up having to go into hiding.
Right.
So it's these people who have to, suppress who they are to fit in when all they want is to be able to be themselves. So it's a really good message, and in the end, obviously, they save the day, and they get to come back, and I guess we don't know if they're going to get to come out and be their superhero selves until the sequel comes out, which is going to happen soon.
Absolutely. I love Brad Bird's action. It's really good. And I enjoy the soundtrack a lot, that 60s vibe to it. It's really fun. And the action, I really love the action. Really quick short story. When I worked at Circuit City, I had this really dumb Onkyo sound system that I wasted my college refund checks on, loan checks. But I would always use the Incredibles DVD to show off the surround sound, because that one scene where he fights the robot. Yep, never again. What a waste of loan checks, I tell you what.
Yeah.
All right. So you have Incredibles. All right, here is what's known as I guess this is the Elite Eight. I guess we're kind of going. I think we got a good flow. So Lion King. For me, Lion King versus Frozen, Lion King's win. Where do you have Lion King and Moana?
I mean, it's gonna be the Lion King.
Ah,
It's
nostalgia, big
so
card.
Mufasa's death is just so ingrained in me and so devastating.
What's really cool, I really like about the movie a lot, is when he comes back as that big cloud across the African plains. That
Yes.
moment is so beautiful as well. And Jeremy
Mm-hmm.
Irons is Scar, like so
Yes.
good, and he's like you could just hear him chewing up everything. That's a really fun thing. Yeah, I mean, it's just Moana just does not have that memorable, like top to bottom memorable characters, like almost the hyenas, Timon and Pumbaa. Was it Nimba? What's her name? Is that her name, right?
Nala.
Nala, right? All these characters. I mean, you got Elton John coming in singing the circle, singing "Can You Feel the Love Tonight?" Right? Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I gotta go with. I love The Rock, but you cannot beat the Lion King.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're agreement about that thing. All right, so next one is you have Aladdin versus Beauty and the Beast. Who wins in that matchup for you?
Oh, Belle gets through another
Oh
round.
my God, no! It's because it's your princess.
Look, that carries a lot of weight.
Oh my God, Jasmine does nothing for you.
Jasmine is great. Okay, she is strong. I respect her. She doesn't want to just be married off to someone. She wants to live her life and see the world. I get it. But Belle is my princess.
I love that Belle strives to be something better than she is, and she does it through books, which is really cool. I'll give her that.
Yeah, she's just a
she loves her
smart
father.
Girl. Smart girl who loves her dad, just wants to be a good daughter, and also see the world, and get out of her small town.
Right.
And she, her dad gets in trouble, and she's like, "Ah, crap, fine, take me." And she decides to stay in his place, thinking she's gonna be a prisoner for the rest of her life. But she loves her dad so much, it's fine.
Okay.
She makes the best of a weird situation.
Okay. She looks great in that yellow dress. It's like,
oh my God.
that's a memorable moment. I gotta give you that. Beauty and the Beast, the dance between the Beast and Belle and that ball.
This time, man.
Yeah, and it's that big ballroom, and and you have Angela Lansbury singing that song. Sweet old
you know what?
Teapot.
Aladdin didn't win Best Animated Picture. Wait, was it Best Picture? What did Beauty and the Beast win?
I have no idea. And
all right.
I'm honest, we might have to do like some kind of corrections in the comment section. But I have to say Aladdin wins for me in this one, and it's just Robin Williams is just so good in it. And the thing about how just because you're the trick at the end against Jafar is such a good character. Iago is such a memorable character. And how it ends, that moment where he's like, "Genie, I wish you free," and he's like, "What?" And he's just like, "I wish you to be free." That moment, and he's just like, it breaks all his bonds, and he's like, and he puts on the goofy hat, and I just like the fourth wall breaking. Puts on the goofy hat, puts on the Hawaiian shirt, and he's like, "I am out of here," and he just takes off, and it's really good. And I think for me, friend like me, because now we're getting nitpicky, right? Friend Like Me, A Whole New World, like those two songs are a lot better than Tale as Old as Time and Gaston in my book.
Mm-hmm.
Any disagreement?
I'm sorry, I'm looking up if it won any awards here.
So you're sticking with Belle, and I
am sticking with Belle. I mean, I think the music in both of them are both really good. I think Alan Menken did both, didn't he?
Most likely. Yeah.
I mean, it was Disney within, a 15-year period, and it was all Alan Menken. No complaints there, just a statement of fact. Right. I think the music is great in both of them, and I think it's interesting that each time I've had to defend Beauty and the Beast, I've said Belle is my princess, and each time you've defended Aladdin, you've said it's Robin Williams. So we both have a very specific reason pulling us through.
This is true. Let's jump back to the Pixar side. We got Toy Story and Coco. We both have the same same matchup. I went ahead with Coco.
Yep, I agree.
I love Andy and his toys. I get it. I love that Woody found a friend in Buzz. They're both fantastic, and Woody learned his lesson, and Buzz is accepted into this whole new. I get that, but family, and I feel like Coco is family right now. I can't pick Coco over that.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked Coco in
Well,
that.
you have my blessing. See
Okay.
what I did? See
So
what I did there?
so jumping, I like that. So jumping down, I have Ratatouille going up against Monsters Inc. For me, I absolutely love Ratatouille a lot. So I picked Ratatouille to beat that Monsters Inc. because it's just that moment is such a nice crescendo for that whole entire film. So I have Ratatouille going on. Who do you have in Nemo and The Incredibles?
I give it to Incredibles.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Your family, is it just the family nature of it and the vibe of it over Nemo?
Yeah, I think it is. Also, what year did that come out? It came out a while ago. I feel like it was still pretty early on when like Marvel was just making movies.
It was way
So,
before MCU, I think.
yeah, I think it was like maybe after like Iron Man 1.
Probably. That sounds
It
about
was
right.
still new. It was still a time when we didn't have superhero movies just like left and right.
That's a good
You
point.
know?
Yeah.
It was like, oh, it's an animated superhero movie about a family and like they all have different cool powers and I'm like, oh, I really like Violet.
Okay.
Anyway,
I like it. I like
yeah.
it. So now we have
So,
the final
Incredibles.
four of the Disney versus Pixar bracket. Lion King for me versus Aladdin, and I picked Aladdin to beat out the Lion King. And you know
Wow.
why?
Why?
Robin Williams. Robin Williams is such a big X factor that he carries Aladdin all the way to the finals. Who do you got in Lion King versus Beauty and the Beast? You know what's a big omission as well? Jungle Book. Jungle Book's a pretty good movie. Anyway,
Yes.
Lion
it
King
is.
versus Beauty and the Beast.
Lion King.
Oh, the Simba beats out Beauty.
Yep. Yeah. Belle got through several rounds
She
on
did.
nostalgia alone.
She did.
But as far as, you know, overall music, story, I mean, I know the story is basically Hamlet, but still.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty good version of Hamlet.
It is. It is. So yeah, I would definitely say Lion King.
I think though when Simba is old, the kind of the movie loses steam for me. And that's when it kind of like dies down because now he just has to go basically beat up Scar.
Right.
Yeah, that's all he
go
has
back
to do.
on,
Like the
save
moment
some
of him
family.
growing up, of being with Timon and Pumbaa, like all that
Mhm.
stuff's great. And then when he grows up to go face Scar, it's like, okay. It's like
Mhm.
yeah, it's pretty much okay. I got it.
Well, he's been growing up and forgiving himself, and now he has to face reality and take his rightful place.
Kind of like Black Panther. That's what he does. Has to come back. All right. So on the Pixar side, Coco versus Ratatouille, and I have to say this. Originally, I picked Ratatouille, but after this conversation that I had with you, and speaking clearly, I have to go with Coco. Coco, again, is one of the strongest movies that Pixar has ever made, and I think it Remember Me song carries it for me personally to the finals against Aladdin. Who did you have between Coco and the Incredibles?
I also have Coco.
Wow, especially something you've seen today.
Yeah. Okay. I saw it today, and I was so emotionally invested. Like I was crying at parts that weren't even supposed to be sad.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like within the first 10 minutes, like we were still meeting these characters. We were still learning, what they want and what they are and how they are. And I'm like, my lip starts quivering and like a tear starts welling up. I'm like, what is happening? Why do I feel like this is speaking to me so strongly? And like an hour and 45 minutes in, and like when the movie was wrapping up, I'm like, wow, this is such a special movie.
It is.
And it is.
Yeah.
I can't wait I want to watch it. I might watch it again tonight just so I can watch it in the privacy of my bedroom and just cry even more.
Cry it out. I just think what really works about it as well is that since its animation so fresh, it looks beautiful. The colors, the vibrancy of the Mexican culture is really represented well. And I think it doesn't treat the material as so stereotypical. It's still very respectful to what the Mexican culture is. And at the same time, I just feel like since so many characters learn, like their arcs are so nice, brilliantly done at the end. Like the whole family turns around, and then the guy finds his, the father finds his rightful place, and Coco is like, she was missing that whole time. Like, good Lord. And the character design of Coco is phenomenal in my mind.
Yeah.
Just such a sweet old lady. It's so good. So good. But does Coco beat out the OG Lion King? Lauren, what is your ultimate Disney Pixar movie?
This is incredibly hard for me.
Okay. Talk me through it.
I mean, you basically just summed it up. We've got Lion King, which is classic and the best. Went on to be an award-winning Broadway show. Yeah. That is constantly running. Yeah. And will always be running. Yeah. It's the best. Yeah. It holds up.
Does it hold up against Coco?
Oh.
Spit it out.
No.
Okay, there it is.
I'm giving it to Coco. I'm so floored by how much I love this movie and how important I feel it is for so many reasons. For so many reasons for so many people in different cultures, but also to me specifically, because like I said, I'm in the process now of mending some family fences. Right. And I was just hit so hard. And I think even if I wasn't in that position personally, I would still be affected because it's such an important message.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel.
Yeah. I you know what? I think this is just a sign of the maturity and the growth of Disney and Disney in general. The tales of old, very simplistic, very basic storylines. X person gets princess, saves the day. But when it comes to Coco, the complexity of the message, and that's in general in all Pixar movies, it really is strong and it strikes to the core more so than Aladdin can ever do. So that's why I picked Coco as well.
Yeah. You know what's amazing is, I'm sorry to interrupt you. No. You just said it was the stories are more complex now than they used to be.
Yeah.
And that's true, but also how accessible they still are to people of all ages is true. Amazing. It's crazy. I mean, like Coco, that's a children's movie.
It is.
That's a children's movie, but we're adults and it spoke to us so strongly. But the messages will be received by the children.
Absolutely.
It's really amazing how especially Disney Pixar finds a way to strike that balance.
I felt like if I wasn't in a movie theater surrounded by everybody, I literally would have broke down. Like I was on the verge of a breakdown because of how strong emotionally that movie connected. And I don't think a movie's done that in a long time. Granted, if I could nitpick Coco, it does kind of lull itself between the middle and third act. But I think that third act drives home to really strong. And I think a lot of Disney animated movies struggle with that third act a lot because it follows this formula. But I think the way Coco delivers it with a sledgehammer, and it hits you like 3 times consistently, like 3 times it hits you. It's such, you care about all those characters. So I have to agree. I'm glad, despite the differences, we settled that Coco is one of the best Disney and Pixar movies of all time.
We sure did.
Again, thank you so much to Lauren. She's an amazing person. I absolutely love working with her. I hope you guys, I don't know, nostalgia plays a big card for my choice. I think that Disney movies really hit the nostalgia chord, and the difference between nostalgia from the old school Disney is that's something we grew up with, whereas the new Coco, the Pixar movie Coco, was able to tap into that nostalgia and, more importantly, hit really hard home with family. So comment down below, let me know what you think about it. I'm sure the past me said that, but let's go ahead and continue on with the CheckPoint Amigos podcast and go to the weekly checkpoint. Yeah, don't have music for that. All right. So what I've been up to lately is I've been playing Far Cry 5. I've been really enjoying that. I just dipped my toe into the Far Cry 5 waters, running around Montana and Hope County. What I really like about Far Cry is just a sandbox simulator where crazy things happen, and the viral clips of it, of like a Wolverine or a bear coming out of nowhere, the ability to feel like an action star It's a really cool game. So far, I know a lot of reports out there saying that the game is shallow and whatnot. It is what it is, but I enjoy Far Cry, and some people are saying it's just more Far Cry, but more Far Cry is not a bad thing. I enjoyed Far Cry, and it looks beautiful and stunning. Also, things I've been getting into is PUBG on mobile, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on mobile. It runs really good and fantastic on my Android, and it was, even though it's kind of a bummer that I heard that there's bots, they put bots in, because I felt really good. I was like, man, I got top one, I won, and all of a sudden there's all these reports that bots are running rampant, so that's a bummer. But this first news story comes from Motherboard. Mouse and keyboard users are dominating PUBG Mobile. Quote, Motherboard reports that a subset of PUBG Mobile players are using devices such as Chromecast or emulators to pair Bluetooth devices with their game client and use mouse and keyboard controls, as other players may do with passable but slightly slower mobile controls. These more accurate players dominate opposition. Look, guys, I'm bringing this to the forefront, and I don't want to sound negative, but come on, are you serious? Mouse and keyboard on a mobile phone. Like, I understand, look, there are things that they have, these accessibility things for the people that may not, physically be able to play the game on the phone, holding it up, and they want to get access to it. I completely get it. But the people that are abusing to play mouse and keyboard on a mobile phone, it's like, I made a very aggressive tweet about it. I said that some gamers are like rats, just trying to find the cheese and do anything they can to get to it. And that's all in video games in a competitive sense, that you always want to find the easy way to win. And I don't like to take a shortcut. And this is a theme in this podcast, shortcuts. And that is, I think, an egregious abuse of the shortcut. A lot of people were saying, like, Fortnite console using mouse and keyboard, that's a bad thing. I don't mind that so much, but I got to draw a line in the sand when you use mouse and keyboard on mobile phone. That's just a bummer. Speaking of bummers, Destiny 2 has revealed their big March update, and they called it the Go Fast update. Quote, this is from a video that Destiny 2 released about that. Sandbox design lead Josh Hamrick says they started by looking at the weapons that are kind of hot, quote unquote, and they're probably too hot for Destiny 2. In Destiny 1, people would have said probably correct. That means we would have nerfed those things. They are nails that are sticking up on the board, and we would hammer them back to even out the board. For this update, we did the opposite. We said, these things are hot. Let's bring everything else to them. We started raising each other thing, whether it be a PvE, PvP. We also learned from our lessons of don't sand the coolness down, leaving the jagged spice of personality in there. I'm really not going to get into the details of this update, but basically they upped the movement. They reduced a lot of cooldowns. They made a lot of guns stronger. Because what he's saying is that a lot of the Destiny 2 community was just not happy with the way the game played out. A lot of people are not happy about the Eververse or the after the fact. The grind is not the same as Destiny 1. So now we have, in the previous podcast, we talk about Star Wars Battlefront 2. Their devs are trying to right this ship around to make something happen, to resurrect the multiplayer player base, to get everybody hyped. And now you have Bungie trying to do the same thing with Destiny 2. And the sad thing, the crazy thing about it is you have the multiplayer community trying to love it as well, trying to resurrect it. And it is just not happening. And like I said, a lot of developers don't have the time frame to be able to capitalize on the momentum. And when you spur a community, it's going to take a lot of time to get people back. The good thing is that there's a lot of influencers, like a lot of big streamers, wanting this game to be popular, because that is where they call home, and a lot of their community was built on that. But when you have something where it's just like the engine's not right, and you kind of, you're pulling on it, man, a lot of people are saying this is a small step. I'm not a Destiny player, so if you are a Destiny player, comment down below. Let us know what you think about it here at the CheckPoint Amigos, and see that was this enough, or is this a step in the right direction, or parallel step? Let us know. Next story: Sea of Thieves is the fastest-selling first-party new IP of this generation, says Microsoft. Over 2 million players since launch. The worldwide excitement of Sea of Thieves has made it its fastest-selling first-party new IP of this generation. Having witnessed more than 1 million players on launch day, our community continues to grow and now has more than 2 million players. Alongside, the Sea of Thieves is already the best-selling Microsoft Studios first-party title on Windows 10. In addition to its social gameplay that brings people together to create memories and make new friends, one of the things that makes Sea of Thieves so special is how much fun it is to stream and watch others. More than 100,000 players have streamed Sea of Thieves since launch, resulting in more than 10 million hours watched in the last week. Thank you for all the content creators who community who have streamed Sea of Thieves and entertained viewers, which the creativity sense of fun has it jumped into the #1 slot on Twitch and Mixer several times this past week. So that's really cool that Microsoft has finally found an IP that has some footing. My concern is Sea of Thieves. When I saw it in action, it really relies on the social aspect of it, the game mechanic loop of binding chests and bringing it back, encountering people. It's more of just the social aspect of working together as a functioning crew or a functioning pirate, a piracy, so to speak. The thing that really concerns me is that, does it have legs? Can they continue to engage the community? A community could do a lot on its own, but the creators have to continually feed the gas fire that is that creativity. That's what's really strong about Fortnite, is they're constantly dumping extreme jet fuel on the community with content, and they're just constantly making viral hits. And this other point, the reason why I'm bringing up this article is I love celebrating a strong Microsoft. It's great for gaming, but more importantly, it just shows the power of streaming, the power of content creation, how it can carry to lead sales to more people interested for your game. And what's also nice is, considering that Sea of Thieves was a big darling at E3, it's really nice to see it capitalize and really set sail. And actually, on its first voyage in the first couple of days, it's really nice to see that succeed. Now, a little bit of a bummer story, and it's for me because I really love this show. Attack of the Show was one of my favorite shows on G3 back in the day. This comes from, I believe, Polygon. The Attack's Kevin Pereira acknowledges the recent view-bouting controversy affecting his former Twitch channel, says that he felt like he had nothing to lose. So I saw this headline because I've always wondered what happened to The Attack. The Attack had this awesome Twitch channel, and it was just like the G3 show, but it was a little light, more guerrilla style. So let's get to the article about it. Questions amassed when screenshots of the team's message to fans addressing the view-botting controversy on the show's Discord made their way to Reddit, leading people to wonder how it got so bad in the first place. Dedicated fans pointed out they thought something might have been happening when the Attack streams, they jumping from a few hundred viewers to a few thousands, later acknowledging that there was a front page traffic, but they couldn't understand why Pereira would decide to do something like view-botting. And essentially what view-botting is, for those of you who don't know, is that you get robots to create a lot of fake accounts to watch your stream, which influxes the numbers, so that way you get pushed up on the page. What ends up happening is the numbers don't match up, right? The followers don't match up with the views, and there's not a lot of active chat members lurking, so to speak, watching your channel. And the Attack of the Show, Kevin Pereira, throughout this entire article on Polygon, he feels this big, huge regret. Quote, "I explicitly said I have nothing left to lose and was very flippant about it, and said, well, a way to get discovered on the platform is to have the channel getting more views. So instead of trying to make the content better or refocus my strategy, with the limited time we had left, I decided to take a shortcut and get some extra views on the channel." And apparently what ended up happening was people found out. All of a sudden he had to, he felt like he ruined the brand forever. He has some kind of rumblings that the community is still there for him, because the brand of The Attack is so nostalgic. And, just like we were talking about in the Disney and Pixar, nostalgia could carry a strong card, Nostalgia could carry the Princess Belle all the way into the final four of the big Disney and Pixar bracket. So that's the bummer about it. I really like the Attack of the Show. Olivia Munn and Karen Pereira had this awesome chemistry. The new Twitch show had something there, but in the rest of the article, they talk about how they just got too big. And when a lot of digital media companies get they overexpand, and recently Twitch had a whole bunch of layoffs the same way. Amazon was just paring down things because they felt like they overhired, and it looks like what ended up happening was I've always said you got to build yourself to perfection, and a lot of people feel like, the high studio quality sometimes doesn't really do well with the Twitch audience. Sometimes you got to have a little rough along the edges to get that attraction, and it is what it is. Let's cut to the next story. Lindsay Lohan loses appeal against GTA 5's using her likeness in game. You guys remember this? Way back when GTA 5 first launched, 6 years ago, and that's crazy that GTA 5 still is a game that's very popular, and it's still in the top 10 every month in video game sales. But way back in the day, they released this cover art with the girl in the bikini looking down from sunglasses, and Lindsay Lohan was like, that kind of looks like me. Let's go to the article. At the time, Rockstar said Lohan was just wanting attention, but Lohan's lawyers expanded the initial complaint later in 2014. In March, a New York judge allowed the case to move forward, but in September, the case was thrown out of court. Lohan's lawyers filed an appeal soon after. By a 6-0 vote on March 29th, the Court of Appeals ruled the depiction of was nothing more than a cultural comment, according to Reuters. The ruling stated that the artistic renderings are indistinct satirical representations of the style, look, and persona of a modern beach-going young woman that are not reasonably identifiable to Lindsay Lohan. So finally, the end to the longest tale ever. It's when it first happened a long time ago, I knew Lindsay Lohan was grasping at straws. It was like a bit of a stretch. If you guys look at the photos, I get it, but I see that the court ruling was just. Now, on to the Fortnite tower of our podcast. I feel like every day there's Fortnite news. Every day Fortnite is smashing records. And here we are with a couple of stories right here. First one, Fortnite passes Minecraft to become the biggest game on YouTube, which is insane. Quote, Fortnite is also leaving its more direct competitors in the dust. Clash Royale, the biggest mobile game on YouTube since March 2016, has internet accelerating decline since Fortnite showed up. The PUBG viewership is literally what this article is saying is Fortnite is claiming souls. It's the Grim Reaper of video games. It is sucking the multiplayer pools to nothing. Quote, the pace of Fortnite's growth is astonishing. Between January and February, Fortnite's viewership grew a whopping 151%, according to Matchmade. During the past 6 months, the average month-to-month growth of Fortnite viewership on YouTube is 97%. Content creators are on board as well, and we've seen the number of Fortnite videos jump from 9,945 to 12,762 in 1 month. That's an increase of 28%. A lot of the YouTubers are playing it. I myself am making content for it. I love it. For me, it's not about taking advantage of the virality there is of Fortnite. I just genuinely love the game. It is such a good game, and the content, like I said, the developers are constantly dumping gas, like jet fuel fire on it, and it's just blowing up. Every time someone like Ninja puts a Twitter clip on Instagram or a tweet or Instagram, those things get millions of views. It's free on everywhere, and it's just a juggernaut. And to show you guys it's much of a juggernaut, this next story says YouTube confirms that Fortnite stream, which featured 100 YouTubers, just set a new record. And yes, Fortnite is really that big. El Rubius OMG, a very popular Spanish YouTuber with more than 28 million subscribers, orchestrated a global Fortnite event on March 25th that drew in 99 other YouTube participants. El Rubius, whose real name is Ruben Doblas Gunderson, is a 28-year-old YouTuber who lives in Madrid and is best known for his gaming and vlogging videos. Gunderson is just like about every other YouTuber looking to get in the Fortnite hype train right now and trying to find a way to make a unique impression. 100 YouTube Fortnite battle match seems like a pretty good way to do it. The live stream lasted just over 3 hours and drew in 1.1 million viewers. 1.1 million viewers on one live stream on YouTube. Just to put that in perspective, Ninja got about 650,000 playing with Drake. And Red Bull pulled in like 8 million people watching that live stream, like some of their events. So yeah, it is a big deal, and the more communities get involved, it'll blow up like that. I remember I was just sitting there, and all of a sudden I see this tweet like, yo, this dude has 1 million people watching. And I think that we are just at the iceberg, not only just Fortnite popularity, but streaming in general. I myself spend a lot more time watching Twitch streams than anything else because it's so awesome and so interactive to engage in something live. And it's just an amazing experience, and I love it. I really do love it, and I feel like because of Fortnite getting inside of sports, getting inside the music world, a lot of people are discovering streaming, and then a lot of people are benefiting from that. So that's just insane, and that's just awesome. All right, let's go ahead and go to the movie portion. This past Saturday, I went ahead and saw Ready Player One from Steven Spielberg, and I have to put the disclaimer. It's going to be a really short review about it. I don't want to really get into it. I just kind of want to leave it up to you guys. But more importantly is I didn't read the book, Ready Player One. I went to go see this movie with Dr. Bacon. Dr. Bacon did read the book, and this was his second viewing. He said there was a lot of differences in it that, to me, just sound like cultural differences in terms of this the timepiece. A lot of the games featured in the book are like Joust and all those old school games that I don't think would relate to the audience today. Ready Player One, if you've seen the trailer, has like Tracer from Overwatch. It has a lot of like modern gaming in it, Gears of War, Call of Duty, Halo, like all those references. Bottom line, I loved the movie. It felt like an awesome roller coaster ride. I was glued to the screen trying to find all the Easter eggs, trying to find like all the cameos in there, seeing like, I'm not going to spoil the cameos, but man, if you're a gamer and you really you love pop culture as well, it is just a buffet. It's like your eyes are just eating up everything, and everything is so awesome, and it's such a thrilling movie. My only complaints about the movie is that the pacing is so fast, it doesn't allow the heavy moments to hit, which is what Steven Spielberg is known for, creating that awe and wonder. There are some cool set pieces in there. In the beginning, there's an awesome race. It feels like if it had more time, this movie does run like 2 hours plus. So I just feel like there's so much content in it. It had to race past some of the good stuff, like the emotional moments. I feel like a lot of the characters in depth, they're there, like intellectually, I understand where they're heading, but they just never hit. The biggest moments in it, again, are the video game, like the camaraderie of video gaming when you play with someone online and they're like, you feel like they're your best friend, and that if you would, whoever your clanmates are, and that you see them in real life, the first time you see them in real life, instantly you're like, I know who you are. Do we hang out for hours? You're my best friend to the end. And I feel like there's a lot of people that I know do this. Every time I go to TwitchCon, it's the same thing for me when I see people like, man, I already know who you are. I feel like we could just hang out and say nothing. A lot of people in the Last of Us community go out to see each other in real life and IRL, and it's the same thing. It's like, man, we know each other so well. And Ready Player One really hits that message home, and it's a really nice thing to see your video game or pop culture represented. And I had a great time. I had no expectations. A lot of people, when I go see movies, they say it's great, they say it's bad. I had no expectations going in, and I enjoyed it. I give it my thumbs up. I highly recommend it, especially if you're a gamer, and especially if you're pop culture. There's a lot of hype moments. I just feel like the crowd that I saw it with, I couldn't really get hype with. If you like saw it with if I saw like a midnight opening night, everyone pumped about it, that'd be pretty cool. Next story here, we're going to go a little bit rapid fire. 20th Century Fox has pushed back the release dates of both X-Men, Dark Phoenix, and the New Mutants, and changed the release dates for 5 other films. So Fox is pushing back everything. As you know, Marvel Studios got back a lot of properties, including X-Men, and looks like there's a lot of projects still leaking out from Fox's deals and whatnot, and X-Men's, the Dark Phoenix, which continues on the Days of Future Past, and the Age of the Apocalypse movie. Those movies are okay, and I understand why they're so hesitant to release them, because you kind of don't. I'm sure Marvel has a thing to do about it as well, but it looks like Fox is just all over the place when it comes to things. The Deadpool 2 trailer, though, really, really good. Can't wait to see that. In this next story, John Cena is playing Duke Nukem in an upcoming movie. The producers want to make misogyny fun and enjoyable. Strange. But let's go to the story. We don't have a script yet, so that is confirmed at this point, but if he reads the script and he doesn't like the script, I'm sure there's ways he could pull out. Producer Andrew Form explains as Cena's casting via Cineblend. Quote, right now, he's our guy, end quote. That's awesome. I like John Cena as an actor. He's not like terrible for a wrestler to be acting. He was pretty funny. He's really good comedically in terms of like small bit parts. I forgot the movie he was in with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, his sister's movie. He had a really funny part as the drug dealer, which is really odd because he's this clean-cut guy, and he's playing all these joke roles, and these are very like edgy, racy roles. Also in that Amy Schumer movie, Trainwreck, he was really funny as that as well. And I think in this new movie that is coming out next week, Blockers, we'll see a little bit of him in a lead role rather than the bit part. So this would be John Cena's like first big theatrical release role besides like the Marine movies or the Marine movies and whatnot. So I'm excited to see that another wrestler come out of that as John Cena's wrestling schedule gets pulled back as he's not wrestling as much. And of course, in WrestleMania, he's about to wrestle The Undertaker. In a future podcast, I'm going to try to lock in a special guest for wrestling for WrestleMania to get some predictions out before that big event on Sunday. Next story, it's just a quick little baby story. Netflix is making a live-action Carmen Sandiego, and they go into it that the woman from Jane the Virgin's gonna be the lead in it. Let me go ahead to the story real quick. Gina Rodriguez from Jane the Virgin and Annihilation is going to be playing the mystery thief Carmen Sandiego in an upcoming live-action movie project for Netflix. Rodriguez will also be voicing the character in Netflix's other Carmen Sandiego, an animated that's due in 2019. Deadline reports that, quote, will be a standalone Carmen adventure that will embrace the beloved 90s properly, and Rodriguez will also be producing. No writer or director has been set yet. So that's awesome. I love Carmen Sandiego. When I was a kid, I've always felt like I wanted to be on that show. A quick little story about little Sancho's life. There was a competition in elementary school where you had to identify all the states, and we had this big map on our blacktop, which is outside where you go play recess. So this big blacktop had the map of the United States, and I studied my little butt off as much as I can because I wanted to win. Because what they do is like they put two people together and they say, where is South Dakota? And then you would run out and you put your foot on it, right? And I remember my state was, where's Delaware? And I'm booking it towards it, man. I'm booking it towards it because I know exactly where it is. And I put my foot on it, and the dude, or I don't know, dude, girl, put their foot on top of mine. Literally, I run, I put my foot down first. They put their foot right on top of me, and they call it a tie. And I'm like, how? I'm like, how is this a tie? Her foot or her foot is on top of mine. I'll never forget that moment in my life. Clearly, like I was like in maybe 4th grade. That was a long time ago. All right, just some quick sports. Congratulations to the Philadelphia 76ers of the NBA. You are in the playoffs. Wow. It all worked out. All those years of tanking. You're getting Simmons, Joel Embiid, Fultz. What was that other guy's name? Oh, that you have him on the bench. He was such a good player, and now all of a sudden he's not even playing, which makes no sense because he was a good 4. Oh, I can't remember his name. The point is, congratulations to the 76ers. Of course, as soon as they get the playoff clutch berth, Joel Embiid goes out 2 to 4 weeks because Fultz falls into them. It was really cool to see the 76ers fans embrace Fultz. For those who don't know anything about the NBA, this guy was drafted. All of a sudden, he got hurt. He's been dealing with this weird shooting mechanic because of this injured shoulder. And he became like a meme in the NBA. People made fun of him a lot because there was a lot of footage of him shooting the air balls. And, you know, his shot's just not that great. There's a weird hitch to it. And they were very receptive and warm to him when he came back. So that's cool. Congratulations, 76ers. It's exciting to see a new young team out in the East to see what they do. I'm excited to see what Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid can do in the playoffs. It's always exciting. Also, just a really quick thing, little LiAngelo Ball, which is part of the Ball family. There's, for those of you who don't know, there's Lonzo Ball in the NBA and the Lakers. There's Melo Ball, which is he's in Louisiana with his brother Jello Ball. And these Ball brothers, great basketball players, head by their father, who's very he's very like a promo guy. He's a hustler, LeVar Ball. So anyway, LiAngelo Ball scores 72 points in his professional league out in Europe for Louisiana, and he scores 72 points, and then he declares the draft. So what's really cool is see him take a different path instead of going to college. For those who who need to be kept up to date, this guy was caught in China shoplifting. He was part of UCLA basketball. He had to be, he had to get out of basically China held him. It was like, yo, you can't do this. You'll be in prison. They had to pull a lot of strings. The UCLA pulled a lot of strings. They're able to get him back, and then UCLA suspended him. And he's like, you know what? I'm out. His father took him out of college. Then his dad also took out his brother, his 16-year-old brother, out of high school to go play professional basketball. And now he's back in the NBA draft, at least the older one. Let's see how Jello Ball does. I'm just fascinated by this story. It's a unique story, and I'll keep my tabs on it along the way. All right, that wraps up everything there. Let's go ahead to the weekly update, all the stuff that's going to come out for you to keep an eyes on. We don't have anything in the video game world. Everything's kind of docile. Everything's kind of dormant, waiting for God of War on April 20th. So right now we only have a movie coming out. It is Blockers. Comes out April 6th. When three parents, Leslie Mann, Ike Ibarra Holtz, and John Cena, stumble upon their daughter's pact to lose their virginity at prom, they launch a covert one-night operation to stop the teens from sealing the deal. The comedy is produced by Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, and James Weaver. So that hits theaters in April 6th, which is, again, I'd be interested to see what John Cena does. And that is pretty much it that's coming out. There's nothing else coming out until God of War. So that wraps up this show. Thank you guys so much for watching the CheckPoint Amigos show. I'd like to thank Lauren again for helping me out with that great Disney versus Pixar bracket battle, March Madness. And it was really fun. I really enjoyed doing this podcast for you guys. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Again, if you're a Patreon subscriber, I thank you for your support. I hope you enjoyed your early access to this podcast. And for everybody else, on Wednesday, $1 gets you into that early access, and I will find ways to integrate more of the audience into the show, and I'll find ways to make this look a little bit better. Maybe I'll lose the green screen, create a little bit of homey feel to the podcast. So I wanted to try this out, so I appreciate it. I'm a bit tired after Easter Sunday, hence the purple polo that I'm wearing right now. Thank you guys so much for the support. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, ooh yeah, peace. Adios, guys. Bye.